Okay, so this is going to be a pretty quick video. I'm just going to reply to Vaush. He released a video on his channel where he tiers the various debates he's had, and he puts me in F tier, but still doesn't reply clearly to my argument. So here's the clip.
Ask yourself, that's an F tier. That's an F tier for me right there. Listen, Ask Yourself has some beliefs that are very good, and there are certain ways in which he engages in defending those beliefs that are good, but I think that Ask Yourself is the definition of debate, bro. I think he gets very, very, very myopically centered on a very specific line of argumentation, and I don't feel he was listening to the arguments I was making, which was very, very frustrating for me.
And I just want to make 6 points, okay? So the first point is that I've made every effort to be kind to Vaush, okay? In my first conversation with him, nothing but friendly. In my second conversation with him, nothing but friendly. In the beginning of my third conversation with him, nothing but friendly. I come in, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm cracking jokes, I'm being nothing but nice to him, okay? When I became unfriendly was when he became evasive. Anyone who watches my content should be aware, if they've watched enough of it, that I'm always pretty reasonable with people until they start dodging, okay? I don't have patience for that. I don't care about the social norm of be nice anyway, don't give a fuck. If you even say be nice anyway, you just get banned from my channel, right? I just will never listen to you. Don't care. I think that people deserve to have their feet held to the fire, and I would do the exact same thing again. It was completely warranted. But yeah, point being, I've made every effort to be friendly to him, and I would continue to make every effort to be friendly to him as long as he's not dodging. And if he does dodge, I would do exactly what I did last time. The second point is that everyone who's tried to defend Vaush's position since that discussion, which there's about 3 or 4 people, has ended up conceding to me that they have to take at least one of Vaush's prior statements off the table in order to get out of the pickle. The best defense I've seen was by a PhD in political economy and international development, and even he ended up conceding that, yeah, okay, Vaush has just fucked himself over here. If he wants to try to salvage this, he has to take something he said off the table. So that's the second point. Everyone who's tried to defend Vaush's position has conceded that they have to get at least one of his prior statements off the table to get out of the trouble. The third point is that I'm happy to mend things with Vaush, right? As much as I might get frustrated with people, you know, that's not the end of the road for talking to me. I'm always happy to bridge the gap. I think that people can change. I think people make mistakes. I think people get emotional and just do stupid stuff. And I would not hold that against someone. There's a point where it becomes a pattern of behavior and you just know someone's a bad actor because you've seen the pattern of behavior for so long. Like Vegan Foot Soldier would be an example of that. It's just a malicious, dishonest piece of shit. But I haven't seen that from Vaush. I have seen some bad faith since the discussion, like, you know, calling me bad faith or, you know, whatever. But it's not to the point that I'm like, this guy's beyond redemption. There's nothing he could do that would change my mind. With someone like VF, it would take like years of behavioral change, consistent behavioral change, before I would think that they might have actually changed their character. So Vaush is not, in my view, too far gone that I would mend things with him. And I've made some effort since that discussion to, you know, be friendly and reconciliatory with him. The fourth point is that I remain open to debate. Okay, people don't seem to clearly understand this, so let this be heard loud and clear. I will debate Vaush at a hat's drop. He knows this. He knows he can DM me on Discord and I'll be there for a debate. It is Vaush who refuses to defend his position against me, okay? Let me say that again for those of you who somehow didn't get it through your head. I will debate Vaush anytime. Vaush refuses to debate me. It's him who won't defend his position, not the other way around. The fifth point is that, look, dude, sometimes you just have to admit when you've done something stupid, when you've made an error. Okay, I can admit errors just to prove the point. I debated I Hypocrite a few years ago, and one of the things I said was that when doing Name the Trait, you have to go one by one through the traits. That's false, doesn't make any sense, okay? Or I debated Jack Angstrike, and I wasn't tracking various things he was saying about moral particularism. And in fact, in that debate, I even got kind of cocky. And it's cringe to watch now because I was definitely making errors there, right? Is it nice to acknowledge when you've been wrong, let alone cocky and wrong? No, but it's what a mature, honest person does, okay? And it's what you need to do, Vaush. And then the sixth point, is just about what I take Vaush's reply to the argument to actually be. And the answer is I take it to be unclear, right? The argument's been formalized. It's linked down below. I have a video breaking it down. And while talking to Vaush, we've never gotten past premise 1. In my last conversation with him, he kept waffling back and forth between two contradictory positions, okay? I know his fans, it's so cringy dealing with his fans. They'll do anything possible to rationalize his position. Oh, he was saying this. Oh, he was saying that, right? None of them survive in debate. Once they come actually debate me in the server, they end up having to concede, as everyone has so far, that something he's said, all of which I have recorded with timestamps, has to be taken off of the table in order to get out of the pickle. Okay, so, you know, his fans will be in there trying to somehow interpret all of his statements, but he waffled back and forth between two contradictory positions. Okay, he was saying there is a threshold of suffering where buying meat produced through capitalism becomes unethical, and he said it's not the case, that there's a threshold of suffering where buying meat produced through capitalism becomes unethical, right? You can't have it both ways. There either is such a threshold or it's not the case that there's such a threshold. That's just P or not P, okay? So you have to pick one or the other side. You can't have both positions. Now, eventually I kind of forced the point that like it can't be both ways enough that he committed to one horn of the dilemma, and he said, yeah, there's no threshold, at which point I delivered the reductio, right? If there's no threshold, then if buying a single piece of steak under capitalism generates galaxies of suffering, right? A Holocaust, orders of magnitude larger than any of the Holocausts that have happened on Earth that Vaush opposes, right? Which I take to be all of the Holocausts that have happened on Earth. Presumably he opposes all of them, right? Orders of magnitude larger generated by buying a single piece of steak. That action is not unethical, right? That's the position you end up with. Now, this is what I did that frustrated Vaush so much that he had me muted. That's an insane thing to say. Everyone fucking knows that's an insane thing to say, okay? You can try to interpret Vaush all you want, right? But bottom line, that's fucking crazy. Now, what I did that frustrated him was I held his feet to the fire, and I forced him to clearly acknowledge that's what his position says. Now, what he tries to do when you try to hold his feet to the fire on this is he tries to like red herring away, make like kind of like put various hedges on the comment. He'll be like, well, the actor who buys the steak, you know, they might not know better. So are they really in the wrong? It's like, now you're talking about the morality of the actor. We were talking about the action, right? He won't just straight up say, yes, the action of buying a steak, which generates infinite suffering or galaxies of suffering, however I phrased it, is not an unethical action, right? He won't just straight up say that. If he does, then I would grant that, okay, he doesn't accept P1. I would consider his position completely insane, and I would just let everyone sort of know that's his position and judge for themselves if they would hold his ethics. But if he admits, which he should, because this is obvious, that that's not actually his position, he doesn't think that it's that it's not unethical to generate galaxies of suffering for a single piece of steak. We all know he doesn't think that. That's fucking ridiculous. It's obvious that's not his view, right? If he wants to acknowledge that, okay, that's not actually my view, you know, I got heated, I was saying some stupid shit, I wasn't really thinking, fine, just do that. I will respect you so much more if you can just be straight up about that, okay? It's not that hard. And yeah, when you do, then we're just kind of back to the same puzzle. It's like, okay, well, then with respect to P1, do you grant that there's a threshold? And then we'd move through the rest of the premises. And the worst fucking case, Vaush, the worst thing that happens is you say, I'm wrong, and you eat some chickpeas. Is it really that bad? So DM me anytime, whenever you want to defend your position.